Hey, do you wear eyeglasses? I mean, it's a great thing. It's a marvel of modern living that we're able to put on some slim pieces of glass or plastic in front of our eyes and see much better. Because how many times would you have avoided bad situations if you could have seen better what was going on? Well, guys, if you're a resident of Des Moines, Iowa, you're going to want to go to the best optical vendors in the area. But what about the bad ones? Well, here are the 5 worst eyeglass stores in Des Moines, Iowa. This little summary here, this video is going to save you a lot of time and trouble. For example, number 1 on our list is Elastic Eyeglass Store in Des Moines, Iowa. Now, why? Why is this such a difficult thing? Okay, that's their name. Well, guys, that's the thing, is that these sidebars on your glasses are not made of plastic or glass or metal. They're made of rubber bands. So you're basically rubber banding the front part to your head. I mean, maybe if you're playing a sport, but all of their eyeglasses are like that. So then what happens? You're in class, you're at work, what do people do? Bing! They snap your rubber band on your glasses, guys. It's painful and embarrassing, and I've lost 2 promotions because of that. So I'm going to say avoid Elastic Eyeglass Store in Des Moines, Iowa. Now, number 1 is Different. Different eyeglass. Now, this is a very good marketing concept. Different. We're different. See? They said it right in the title. So it might get old after a while. They'd have to spin it with some different creative over time on their radio and TV and social media. But what's the bad part about that? Well, when you go in, it's the people working behind the counter that are different. And I don't really have any problem with that. I like different kinds of people, different, it has a spice of life. If we were all the same, it'd be boring. So a spice of life is different characters, different personalities. But in this case, for example, the last time I went into Different to get some eyeglasses, I'm talking to the person behind the counter, and they look like a cross between the guy from Adam 12, if you're an oldster, and I would say a bear at the zoo. So it was like basically it looked like a bear wearing a policeman's outfit is what it looked like to me. So I'm going to say to the guy, I mean, you want to say, but I'm embarrassed to say, hey, why are you wearing a policeman's outfit and you look like a bear and you're selling eyeglasses? But the thing is, these days I avoid any of that, okay? Because I don't know, that's your thing, that's your trip. And plus, maybe it's going to be entertaining. But the thing is, all of the things that he asked me about my eyes had to do with bears or police. Like, for example, he said, have you ever seen a bear running from the police? Would that be an occasion where you need better eyeglasses? I'm like, what? So guys, I mean, and it just takes too long. It's too much trouble. I'm going to say avoid Different Eyeglass Store in Des Moines, Iowa. Now, number 3 is Taboo. Now, again, a great name, Taboo, right? Because, look, eyeglasses, a lot of times, they look pretty boring on people's heads. But, now, that's possibly because most people are boring. But the Taboo suggests that you're going to get something a little original. And sure, you do. Because what they've done is they've used the top part of the frame as a horizon or a street level, and they build little scenes on top. So it could be a cityscape, a mountain, perhaps a train running across, okay? It's just a scene. It's not a moving parts. And it might have LED lights, okay? But when you put it on, the scene will get you a lot of attention. And that's taboo in a lot of societies to draw attention to yourself. But the problem is now, let's say you want to put on your cap, okay? And the scene is sticking up and it's like, or you have one of those winter caps, won't go on real good. Or you put on your hockey helmet and the scene is sticking up. Now that might be good if you're coming down the ice and you have this scene of, let's say, your childhood home. And it's got the Christmas lights and it's, right? And that might blind the defenseman. But it's just not practical, guys. I'm going to say avoid Taboo eyeglasses out of Des Moines, Iowa. Now, number 4 is Dash. Now, Dash is, I love these guys who are Dash because, listen, The trouble with all of these services that we need all the time, eyeglasses, you need to go to the medical clinic just to get a shot. It takes time. How often have you gone to it takes too much time, is what I'm saying. How often have you gone to the doctor for a 2 o'clock appointment and you're there at 5, maybe 10 minutes beforehand, and they go, okay, thank you, have a seat, the doctor will be with you as soon as they can. Now, what happens? The doctor sees you at 2:40, maybe 2:45. Hey, doc, that's kind of funny. When I talk to your lady, when you talk to your man out front, I distinctly remember we said 2. I was here at 2, but you weren't there at 2. Why? Well, this Dash eyeglass store, that's the thing. It's speed. It's speed. Boom, boom, boom. Now, how do they do it? How is it so fast? Well, it's fast because they already have the eyeglasses made for you. What? Yes. Studies show that a lot of people have similar, differences in eyes or whatever it is. If it's not 20/20, there's standard, just like there's standard shoe sizes, there's standard eyeglass sizes. But what's the problem with that? It's a good idea. But have you ever put on a shoe that was a half size too big? And your shoe, or maybe a whole full size. And so now you're swimming in the shoe, or vice versa. It's cramping your toes. It's a half size too small. So even though that's a good idea and they get close, after a half a day, you're going to be going, man, my eyes haven't hurt this bad since the morning after my bachelor party. That's what's going to happen, guys. And I want you not to experience that. So I'm going to say, please avoid Dash eyeglass centers there in Des Moines. Now, finally, it's acceptable eyeglass. Now, again, this is a pretty good idea because, listen, sometimes things are just acceptable. I don't want to pay for $750 Gucci frames that were made by the same manufacturer, by the way, that makes the Brooks Brothers frames. Same factory. They just slap a different name on it. So acceptable says, look, we're just going to make eyeglasses that are stylish, that are functional, but they're just acceptable. They're not going to be high-end, high fashion. And for a lot of people, that's all they need. That's all I need. So I went in there, and their idea of acceptable is not acceptable, to be honest with you, because what they did was they made my eyeglasses out of onion rings that were left over in somebody's McDonald's bag. All right? And I'm not talking about raw onion rings. That'd be one thing. These were the fried onion rings. So they're thick with the breading and the frying. Guys, I mean, it looked like I was trying to do some kind of version of Elton John fried. I still have them. I mean, sometimes I get hungry and I eat a bite off of them. But, guys, that's a little less than acceptable. So I'm going to say avoid that one. Guys, those are the 5 worst eyeglass stores, eyeglass centers in Des Moines, Iowa. If you live in that town, it's a great town. Everybody loves Des Moines, but stay away from those.